Kiss me hard before you go. Summertime sadness. I just wanted you to know that baby, you the best.
DatPiff.com world.
Nothing more stressful than burying your best bull. Feeling empty make you keep that Smith & West full. I realize that.
What's up, everybody? This your boy Blaze the Guard here. Here to bring you my NFL Divisional Round wild card preview. Sorry I missed the not wild card preview, divisional. But sorry I missed the wild card. It was my birthday weekend last weekend. I turned 30, so I was just too caught up in the moment, having too much fun enjoying my birthday, and I missed it. So I'm sorry about that, but I'm here. Let's get this thing going. We're going to start out in the AFC and move forward, and I'll break down who I think is going to win, why I think they're going to win, and go forth with that. And, let's get it going. So the first matchup I want to review is the Kansas City Chiefs, versus the Indianapolis Colts. One of the most interesting matchups that I'm looking at this weekend. I've reviewed this matchup for a while, and, a lot of people are expecting the Chiefs to just move on. Now, I'm going to go against the grain. I'm going to say that the Colts are going to beat them. The main reasons I say this is because when you get into the playoffs, you got to understand that a lot of your success comes if you can stop people. If you can stop people, and you can score, even if you don't have to score every drive, if your defense can hold up and make big plays and, stop points from getting up on that board, it's big. And I tend to like going with the better defensive team in these type of games, especially in the playoffs. The Colts have been one of the hottest teams finishing the season. They shut my boys out. We were on a little undefeated streak, after that Titans game, and they punched us in the mouth, which was rare because we've been punching a lot of people in the mouth, and we were on the receiving end of it at that time. They went and got the Texans out of there, punched them in the mouth. They've been playing smash nose football. Marlon Mack is doing very, very well. He's running that ball, which makes you think, a lot of the rumors of Le'Veon Bell going to, the Colts. They may not be looking to do that. They got a nice running back. It's working over there. Frank Wright, is definitely proving why he's valuable. It's looking like he was a big reason on why the Eagles had a lot of success and stuff like that. It's just, I think the Colts, they got it. I think the defense is going to be able to hold up. We all know Kansas City has an explosive offense. But, if you can get pressure on, Mahomes and shut down the big plays and make them, dink and dunk it, with them losing Kareem Hunt, they kind of lost, that running game. They had an elite running back to go with this scary passing attack. And, you kind of don't have that. Spencer Ware fits in well, but he's just not Kareem Hunt. And, you can make them one-dimensional. That's what they really are now. They rely on a lot of passing more with Kareem Hunt going. And I think, the Colts will be able to get pressure on Mahomes, get him frustrated, make him, he will make mistakes if you get in his face and force him to. And I think that the Colts will beat them. I think Luck and them are going to control that time of possession, keep them off the field, run the ball, tire him out, and then hit him up over the top. T.Y. Hilton's there. The Chiefs give up a lot of points, and their defense isn't that good, So this favors the Colts for me. I think the Colts will come out of here with the W. I think Luck will ball out. I think Mahomes will have a good game, but I think in the end, they'll do enough to keep the Colts off the field and control that time of possession with the run game, the play-action pass, and I think their defense will get enough stops for them to come out of Kansas City with a win. We'll go on to the next game, the Chargers versus the Patriots. And, this is a little interesting matchup. If you look at history, Phillip Rivers hasn't ever beat Tom Brady in the playoffs. He doesn't play his best games against Tom Brady, especially in Foxborough. He's running out of time. With him, his stats are there that say Hall of Fame, but he needs to at least get into a Super Bowl, and make it happen. And this year is a perfect year for him to do it. He's got a good team. They're complete. They got a good defense. They can do it, man. And, Brady, they're the most vulnerable this year. They got a lot of injuries. It looks, if you look at their team, the way they've been playing, they've been slowing down, man. They don't really have a crazy deep threat. Losing Gordon, Cooks isn't there anymore. It's kind of, they got to dink and dunk you, They don't really get a lot of big plays. And I think Phillip will break the curse this year. I have another upset going on in the AFC. I have the Chargers beating the Patriots. I think Phillip Rivers and them can run the ball. They got a good passing attack, and their defense is more than good enough to frustrate Brady. The key to frustrating Brady is putting him on his butt. You put him on his butt, you can't do nothing from your butt. No quarterback likes to get hit, and they don't, like I said, their receivers aren't the best. You got Edelman. I'm not going to put it past Brady to get by, the Chargers or even get back into the Super Bowl because it's Tom Brady. But this year, I just think they're too vulnerable. The receivers I don't think that they have enough to get open against the Chargers, and I think the Chargers will be able to jump out on them and get a W in Foxborough. And, I think if Josh Gordon maybe was still here, they would have a better chance. But, you need some guys that can make big plays against this Chargers defense because that pass rush is going to come. And if you can't get open, it's going to be trouble, and it's going to be hard to run the ball on them. They play good rushing defense, too. I see Phillip Rivers getting a W, finally breaking the curse against Brady this year. Go to the NFC side. NFC side is real interesting. A lot of people are looking for an NFC East championship showdown. I myself want to see it, but I'm not biased. I have to go with what my gut's telling me. So let's get into these playoff predictions and you'll hear what I got to say. First game I do is the Saints versus the Eagles. A lot of people are looking at this game. A lot of people, as you most obviously know, that first matchup they had, was bad for the Eagles. They got stomped. There's a little bad blood there because the Saints went on it for 4th and 7 when they were already up 38-7 and scored a touchdown off of it. There's a lot of bad blood. The Eagles remember that. They've gotten a lot better since Foles took over. They're just picking up better team chemistry, team camaraderie. It's crazy to see. It seems like it's all a repeat of last year. It's just a little harder road. Last year they were, dominating people. But, we'll see. This is going to be the ultimate test to see if the Eagles have that good chance of repeating. Because if they beat the Saints, I'm a Cowboy fan. I'd hate saying this, but they have a real good shot at repeating if they can get by the Saints. Because you look at it, you have Drew Brees at home. He's coming to the end of his career. He's not going to have many more years left to capitalize. They lost one last year, and that's why they don't like the Eagles, because last year they felt they could have beat the Eagles, but they had that bomb happen in Minnesota, and it messed it up. But they felt like they could go into Philly and beat Nick Foles and them, and they never had a chance to do it, and that's why that bad blood I see is brewing there. Saints have been kind of salty about that. They feel like the Eagles have their ring. And this is the time to prove it. You've been talking all this stuff, yapping your mouth, doing a lot of sub-tweeting and sub-shots at the Eagles. Now's your time to back it up again. You got them in the season. Now you got to get them when it counts. You got to back up all that stuff you were saying. And, the Eagles players, they seem like they're with it. They've been riding a hot streak. It's an interesting game, but I think the Foles magic's going to run out just because the Saints have – a lot of matchups that are just bad. This is just not a good matchup for the Eagles. If you look at the Bears game, it was a perfect matchup for the Eagles. The Bears don't score a lot of points, and the Eagles defense was playing better. And, long as you can hold the Bears to under 20 points, you got a good chance of winning that game. And that's what pretty much happened. They held the Bears to 15 points, which was enough to keep them alive in the game, and they were good. But with this team is averaging 38 points a game on the road. And I'm not trying to be biased here, but this team, your defense is really, really going to have to show up. And the reason I'm saying that is, if you paid attention last week, Allen Robinson was getting open on Mannix a lot. And even Mitch Trubisky had a good game throwing the ball. And that's a little scary if you're an Eagles fan because the Saints have a potent offense, and everybody knows it. You got the 2 running backs. You got Thomas. You got a bunch of other guys that get off in the system. Ted Ginn's back. He wasn't even there the first game. That's a speed demon. There's just a lot of threats that can mess you up. And if you don't get pressure on Drew Brees, the Eagles could be in trouble. That's where this game could be won at, in the trenches. If the Eagles can get pressure on Drew Brees and protect Nick Foles. Now, I know a lot of Eagles fans are saying, We got by the number one defense last week. It's not gonna be nowhere near like that. The Saints have a good defense. They rush the passer well, and they're very good against the run. And they have good corners with Lattimore and them guys. And they make plays on the ball. I mean, you can attack Eli Apple, as a lot of people know, and the Eagles are good for it because they lit him up when he was with the Giants. But they can get after foes. You're gonna have to block good again. You can't take this defense lightly. They're gonna come after you guys. And you guys pretty much had the same team, just different quarterbacks versus the first time. I know it's a new wave, but at the end of the day, a lot of the same players are there. They're just playing better. But we're gonna see. But I'm gonna take the Saints in this game. I'll truly look to see how it could be an NFC East showdown, and I looked at this Eagles game to see how this could happen, and I just can't find anything to see where the Eagles can win at. And it's unfortunate, Eagles fans. I know you're probably like, this guy's just saying it because he's a Cowboy fan, but I'm really not. If you know me, you'll see as my channel grows, I'm not a biased fan at all. But, I think it'll be a close game. I don't think it'll be anywhere near how it was last game. I think the Eagles are going to give them a run for their money. I think it'll be a shootout. But I think in the end, Drew Brees and them will do just enough to win. I say by like a last-second field goal or a late touchdown or something like that. I don't think it'll be a blowout. But I think the Saints, being at home, Drew Brees is possessed, to get back to the Super Bowl, to get one more to kind of cement that I'm one of the greatest ever quarterbacks. He's hungry for that. And I think, that's probably why they'll have more, just enough to squeak by you guys in that hot Eagles run they're on. And, the last game is the Dallas Cowboys versus the LA Rams. This is an interesting matchup. Being a Cowboy fan, I was looking, obviously you don't want to ever root for the Eagles, but at this type of point, I'm like, who would you rather go against? Would you rather go against Drew Brees in New Orleans? Or would you rather take on Jared Goff in L.A., where the Cowboys have a big fan base? I mean, they train in Oxnard, California. They got a big base out there. There wasn't a lot of L.A. teams out there, so a lot of L.A. fans are Cowboy fans. And it's just a weird game. And then it actually played into kind of how I wanted it, because I said, of course, anybody, you would rather go see Jared Goff in L.A., and especially they're more vulnerable than the Saints. The Saints are a better put-together team than L.A. is, and then it's just hard to go in the Superdome, period, where it's not that hard to go get a W in L.A. And the reason I like this matchup is just there was a lot of things that feed into how the Cowboys play against the Rams. Like, they're terrible against the run. They give up almost 5 yards a carry, which is perfect for the Cowboys because we run through Zeke. And if you're doing that just against other guys, Zeke is already averaging about 5 a carry. That could get even uglier. It also feeds into how we play. We play a time of possession. We like to control the ball. If you're running the ball, you're eating up clock. You're keeping that Rams explosive offense off the field, and you're keeping your defense healthy, who likes to fly around to the ball. They also give up a lot of yards through the air. Marcus Peters has been proven that, he's not as good without Eric Berry sitting over top of him like he was in Kansas City. Talib, he's iffy. I wouldn't really want to test him. He usually shows up in the playoffs. But, you got Peters there. I would put Amari Cooper over top of Peters and go at him all day. It should be there because Peters has just been getting beat like a drum by anybody. And the defense favors us. I mean, the Rams slowed down a little. They got to play, 2 layup games in a row to get kind of back on their rhythm versus the 49ers and the Cardinals, and they blew them out. But, they're going to be going against a good defense in the Cowboys. The Cowboys have been flying all over to the ball. You can get us, if you test a Woozier, with those little fast guys like a Cooks or somebody like that, or Lockett just has a field day with us both times he played him. It can cause problems for us. But the main thing is that mobile quarterback. If you looked at the Cowboys' losses, a lot of them came against quarterbacks that are mobile. Even Russ, we beat him last week, but he gave us problems because he was mobile. Jared Goff isn't the most mobile person, which favors us again. I know that Gurley's returning. they're getting the tackle back, which is good for them. So, that helps them out. I don't know if they're going to be fully healthy, especially Gurley. But, everybody's saying he's an all-go, so it shouldn't be no excuses. But, which is crazy, and I'm not being biased. And if I'm wrong on my next stuff, I'll own up to being wrong on my next video. But I think the Cowboys are going to win this game. And the reason I think that is for the reasons I gave you. I think the Cowboys are going to do enough to control the time of possession, keep the Rams off the field, be able to score touchdowns off the run and getting Peters, isolated one-on-one with Cooper where he gives up one of them huge plays, or even running a read option with Dak, long as you're kind of not letting Donald be able to pin his ears back and get to the, pass rusher, then, I think that we'll be able to beat them, and I think we can stop them on offense. They've slowed down a little bit. Goff's already kind of proven, in these big games, if Gurley can't really get going for him, he can't really do much when you start pinning them ears back and blitzing him. Like I said, he's not the most mobile, he's a little fragile, so you can ring him up, long as you don't let them guys like Cooks and them other guys beat you deep. You can beat them. And, I would kind of, if I was the Cowboys, look at the Eagles formula on how, they, in the first half, they neutralized the offense. They weren't able to do anything, and the Eagles shut them down, and then they got late stuff going on in the game. Kind of after Foles threw that pick to leave, they kind of got some momentum. But if you can protect the ball and, do what the Eagles did in that first half against the Rams, you can slow them down and make them look real human. And Atlanta did it last year as well. Atlanta came into L.A., they neutralized them. They beat them in the wild card. And the advantage the Cowboys also have is Chris Richard used to play these guys twice a year and did pretty well against them. So, that's another advantage. I think this game favors the Cowboys just for the other reasons. I really didn't like the Cowboys versus Saints matchup, even though we beat them the first time in Dallas, just because the Saints are very, very different at home than they are on the road. And, obviously I picked us to win, so we would have to go into the Saints' house anyway to try to get to the Super Bowl. But I think this matchup, as bad as, annoyed as Cowboy fans felt when they saw that the Eagles won, the good part was you had the easier matchup than having to go in New Orleans. You can go into L.A. where really it's going to be a home game. There's going to probably be more Cowboy fans than Rams fans at that game. And, the way that the game is, Rams play favors you. They give up the run. They, their cornerbacks make bad mistakes to where you can capitalize on it. They're real undisciplined on defense. And they can get lazy at some point. They give up quick. And on the offense is what you really got at. Well, that's what worries me the most. Can we control Gurley? Can we get to Goff? Can we stop those little guys like Cooks and them from getting open on those big plays they like to take? If we can do that, then we can be all right. So, that's all I got to say on that. And, you guys definitely check into my next video. I'll follow up on these games and let you know, how much I was right about, how much I was wrong about. And we can, make this thing fun. I will be doing an NBA video coming up on Tuesday as well, talking about what I've liked so far in the season. And, thank you guys for tuning in. Definitely appreciate you guys. Hopefully we can make this channel fun, get the views up, all that stuff. You support your boy.